Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Yaelial in this incarnation. I am here today to talk about the energies of this next week from today, November 24th, until December 1st. So, this is the last week of November, and we are living step by step the 2024. Right. The biggest event that we have this week, it is the new moon in Sagittarius that is going to happen on November 30 in some places and or December 1st here in Argentina. So I'm going to talk mainly about this transit. It is already active. We are going to feel it the whole week, the whole next week too. And I'm going to mention a little bit first another aspects day by day. So in first place, this is something that I talked before in the last videos. We have tomorrow, November 25th, the perfection of the Sun in Sagittarius, doing a trine with the North Node in Aries and a sextile with the South Node in Libra. So I already talked about this. This is, connecting with the vital force to move forward to, unknown experiences, independent experiences that require courage to move forward. This is the North Node, and with this fluidity, perhaps to let go of patterns that are more related with dependencies in relationships or on the external, which are more linked with the South Node in Libra. So we have available this energy still a few days more. And on November 26th, we have the retrogradation of Mercury in Sagittarius. This is happening from November 26th until December 15th. It is going to happen from the degree 22 with 39 minutes until the degree 6 of Sagittarius. If you have planets there, that is something that you are going to reevaluate. And it is also very important to pay attention to the house in which is happening of our natal chart to know with which topics this is going to be linked. Every time that Mercury is stationary right now, let's remember that the retrogradation is only an illusory perspective from the Earth. It is not that the planet is going backwards. And the moments that it starts and the moments that ends, it is, when we most feel Mercury retrograde. When the communication, there could be misunderstandings in communication, certain, difficulties in terms of transports, the traveling, bureaucratic paperwork. I am not entering too much in there because, bureaucratic paperwork, I think that the more that we are detaching from that, it is actually that we are leaving, the old system behind. But of course, there are things that are still operating, and everyone will know if what you are doing or investing your energy in is actually aligned with the purpose of your soul, because that is the energy of Sagittarius. So it is not recommended, as always, during this period, make big transactions and these kind of things, or, the traveling. But of course, the world, it is not stopped by Mercury retrograde, and you will know. I am more from the perspective of observing that if there are any complication, that has a sense, and we can extract something about that. What we are going to review and question, it is very linked with beliefs and aspects that we have assumed as a truth. The more that we are fanaticized, I don't know if that's the expression, with certain aspects of reality, the more we need to question that, because that means that the identity has been closing itself in something that is very subjective, and that for some reason it is disconnecting us from the higher sense, or from the higher meaning of life. And this reevaluation could help us to observe those things from another perspective. I'm going to put an example, because Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius is going to create a trine with Chiron retrograde in Aries by the moment of the lunation. So I've met people along my life that, for example, were so attached to an ideology, but that happened because they experimented very painful and traumatic situations in terms with the opposite ideology. So that's why they made identity there. Or, for example, let's go to another theme. If we have limiting beliefs in terms of relationships, in terms of the connection with infinite sustenance, I am mentioning this because these are, mainly the areas where many people have limiting beliefs. They are coming from painful experiences of the past. So it is important to, I think, more to let go of the belief, to start to put the focus on the here and now, and in how we can modify the things that we are not feeling aligned with our truth internally in this present moment, to take them then to the action, and experimentally we can see how the manifestations in our reality are changing. That is the wisdom of Sagittarius. It is about putting the knowledge at the service of the experimentation, and that is how we become wiser. So it is also a transit to reevaluate the escapisms or denials that are coming, that many times are perpetuated through mechanisms or excesses. The consumerism, the seeking of fun and distraction, not as a way of enjoyment, but to and connection with ourselves, but as a way of covering up conflicts, internal and external. So, it is important to take this in account. We will expand in the next days. Okay, on November 27th, we have this trine between the Sun in Sagittarius and Mars in Leo. And by the moment of the lunation, it is going to be quite open, but I'm considering it. So I'm going to talk about this trine in relation with the new moon. Okay, December 1st, November 30, it is going to be different for depending on where you are, sorry. We have the new moon in Sagittarius. This is given in the degree 9 with 32 minutes of the sign. So people that have planets there, 3 or 4 degrees before and after of mutable signs. Sagittarius, Gemini, Pisces, sorry, I'm mixing the languages with Portuguese. Pisces, and Virgo. I don't know if I mentioned every one of them. They are going to feel probably in a more powerful way this lunation, but we all have Sagittarius in some area of our natal chart, and there is where something is beginning, because every new moon is an initiating of we are initiating a cycle of 6 months. So the thing is with this lunation that is happening in a square with Saturn in Pisces. So I'm going to talk about that. The energy of Sagittarius is very associated with the seeking of sense, with the expansion, with the horizons through which we are focusing our energy, the knowledge, the wisdom. It is very linked with our ideas and the connection with our own truth, the revelation of our own truth that we do while we are evolving. I think that the truth is something that can always be more and more expanded, actually. So the square with Saturn, every square is an aspect that is very dynamic and that is inviting us to do a labor. There is something that we need to change in order to evolve, in order to go to the next level in certain areas of our life. So Saturn, which is a planet that consolidates, that invites us to make things in a concrete way. Sorry, I came from 2 videos, very long videos. And I am a little bit tired. Okay. This is a planet that is very linked with perseverance, with how we are connecting with our inner authority and figures of authority. This is a planet that is very linked with how we are applying and materializing here in reality. And also, it is a planet that gives us lessons of maturity, a spiritual maturity. So the expressions of Saturn when we are, having it in tensions, could be linked with the limitation, the restriction, the obstacle, the scarcity. This is another aspect of Saturn, to realize that we need to do something different. Maybe we are not putting boundaries in certain places. Maybe there are situations that are actually not contributing with this higher sense of our soul. There are decisions from our responsibility and commitment with our soul that we need to assume. This is always to reevaluate the path and observing if we are really, heading to horizons, directions that are actually connected with that truth, that inner truth, with the purpose of the soul. So there could be, as I said, a scarcity in certain areas, limitations, things that are going slower or they are stopped. An obstacle is created. And the obstacle is never to stop us. This is very, very important because experiences with Saturn could many times bring frustration or pain. Through those situations, this could be activated, which is very important to accept and process. But each one in its time. But always, in order to wake up again, to rise and to understand that if we are paralyzed in frustration, it is because we are feeding the aspect of ourselves that it is feeling the victim, the total victim of circumstances. It is the rejection of trying to open ourselves to see which is the part of responsibility of ourselves, which it doesn't mean that we are responsible of everything. It depends on situations. And that it is disconnecting us from feeling capable of transcending and of develop maturity and learning something through the situation that life is presenting us. So even in the hardest, I don't know, in the hardest moments or the most hard moments, I don't know if I'm expressing that correctly, if we are alive and incarnated, it is because the soul knows a way or a concrete form of transcending that circumstance and to move to the next level. And in the collective level, this many times could be linked, Saturn in Pisces could be linked with a scarcity of water, this, I don't know the word in English right now, but well, problems with this resource. This energy could also be linked with spiritualities, both Sagittarius and Pisces are energies very linked with spiritualities. But what happens, it is that the shadow of Sagittarius, many times, it is this vision, this is the only way that the aspect of God can take form. This is the only God, this is the only religion, this is the only idea, this is the only truth. And in Pisces, we are realizing that everything is an aspect of God. So well, I think that the square with Saturn could bring also, certain lessons related with incoherences and with practices that aren't actually cultivating a true spirituality. Also the square between Saturn and Jupiter that I talked before in other videos, that those videos are in the reproduction list, are very linked with the educational system. I told you this in those videos. I'm talking about this because Jupiter, it is the regent of this new moon. That's why we care a lot about it and what it is doing. And the square that they are doing, it is going to be perfected more and more from here and on, because on December, it is going to happen the second one. So beyond the intentions through which the system could act, I mean, in terms of education here in Argentina is very, it is very tangible right now. It is important to understand or to open ourselves to see the purpose through which the things are happening, because many things of the system, the educational system, are very, very obsolete. And with Uranus in Gemini, certainly this is going to be revolutionized. Well, so Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, which is the ruler, it is creating this opposition by the moment of the lunation with Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. So the fact that both of them are retrograde, it is telling us that there could be a reconnection with people experiencing situations of the past that we need to face, perhaps to give a closure to that, to establish a boundary finally. Because they aren't part of the sense of our path anymore, or there could be, a possibility that we are having these encounters with souls and experiences that do contributing with the expansion of our path. But of course, that inner coherence, it is something that we can only establish in an inner dialogue with our soul. So this is something that we have to create the discernment to do. Um, Many times the oppositions with Mercury and Jupiter could be linked with indecision, with not knowing which direction to assume. So, well, Mercury also retrograde in Sagittarius, creating this trine with Chiron in Aries, which has also retrograde and which is a harmonic aspect. It is taking us to question and to observe the imbalances that could be activating, but not to allow them to define us and not to allow them to limit who we are, because Chiron, it is in a sign very linked with identity. But to face the fear and the insecurities and the pain with courage, because certainly, a trend is an aspect of support. It is a force that we can always connect, but this aspect helps us to give entity to this capacity of us, and to understand that these imbalances or these wounds that could be repeated, because that is Chiron, the wounds that could be repeated along the incarnation in different levels, these wounds that we know very well, and that actually they are helping us to discover that gift that we can use to contribute with others. It is that vulnerability and those aspects that many times we could reject, but when we are embracing them and we learn to coexist with them, we become ourselves a bridge. This concept of bridge, it is very linked with Sagittarius, a bridge of healing for other people. So it is a very nice aspect, and for ourselves too. Well, then the trine that is quite open, as I said, between the sun in Sagittarius, the moon and the sun in Sagittarius, because that is a new moon, with Mars in Leo. It is a key to me in this experience, because it is this force to move forward. It is this capacity that we have to transmute the anger and the frustration, because Mars in Leo, it is in this opposition with Pluto, to continue. It is an aspect to cultivate the appreciation for what we have to give. It is putting out there our talents and gifts and that are part of our purpose in the path, to share them, to expand ourselves through our creations. And also, in the collective level, Pluto in Aquarius, it is revealing, and it is going to continue to do this along the whole transit, along the 20 years that is there, to reveal what was hidden. And Aquarius are these insights and ideas that are actually quite disruptive, that are linked with a cosmogonic vision, universal, interconnected, and they are breaking with perceptions and the more rooted truths that we had. For example, we are not the only habitants of this universe, and even though for many people this could be pretty obvious, for others this is not. So Pluto is going to break with many things that we thought about ourselves and life, and this could be uncomfortable. So the last thing that I wanted to comment, because I think it is worth to do it is that Venus in Capricorn is going to create almost an exact trine with Uranus retrograde in Taurus. So there is a lot of beautiful energy in this lunation. This is linked with commitment to make important changes, with the need of detachment also from structures, people, spaces that aren't actually in alignment with the authenticity of our soul. It is about ascending the mountain, not because we have this material ambition or because we want to, accomplish a status that the society can validate, but because we are consolidating the path that lead us to expand our potential. The one that we came here to exercise. And at the same time, Venus in Capricorn is creating this sextile with Neptune retrograde in Pisces, which can collaborate with the acceptance, the compassion with ourselves and with others, to respect the processes of others, with this listening, internal listening. I'm saying this because the energy of Sagittarius many times it is I got the truth, it is very linked with this. And I think that also this sextile between Venus in Capricorn and Neptune, it is about understanding that we need love to live. I don't know if you have heard this phrase, that we cannot live of love. We cannot live by that. But I'm saying this because many times the shadows of Venus in Capricorn and Taurus are linked with materialisms. And it is proved right now that the selfishness of human beings can be something really, really destructive. But we have to understand that love is a bigger energy, and it is not a conception that is adjusting to what many times we thought about love. The problem is that we want to, put love in a concept that is linked more with the things happening as I want to happen. And love is actually something that embraces everything and that goes beyond the things that we can really understand with our mind. So love is something that we can understand with our heart, and this is something that Neptune is telling us. I mean, love is understanding that everything that we are going through right here, right now, has a higher sense, has a higher purpose, and that life is taking us precisely where we need to. So, well, that is a comprehension that we can access every time that we are disconnecting from that, precisely listening to our heart. Well, I am going to end this video here. Thank you, everyone, and see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.